Happy holidays, Loving Without Boundaries community. This is our final Facebook Live with B and I here this week for this year for 2023. We absolutely love being here to support all of you living your most authentic lives and learning everything that you can around how to do that without a lot of jealousy and insecurity, without shame and guilt, and also without the pain of infidelity in open relationships and polyamory and in a sex positive way so that you feel unstoppable, you fall back in love with yourself, and you lean more into self-acceptance and self-compassion. That's exactly what we are honored and privileged to be helping people in our community to do. So if you are new to our community, we want to say welcome. We are glad that you are here, finding a safe space to find comfort, especially around the holidays, which is one of the things we're going to be talking about today. And if you've been here for a while, thank you for your support. And I also just want to say a big shout out to all our administrators and moderators and team members like B here for being a part of our team, doing everything we can to support all of you. So B, great to see you. Thanks for the topic that you wanted to talk about today that you brought up, which is navigating consensual non-monogamy in whatever form that is for you, whether it's polyamory, whether it's open relationships, whether it's relationship anarchy during the holidays. So I'd love it, maybe B, if you could get us started just having this important discussion on this topic.
Thank you, Kiri, for starting us off, and happy holidays to all of you all around the world. So yes, we are indeed in that time of the year where many cultures around the world have some sort of holiday traditions, which can be an incredibly beautiful connecting time with our loved ones and our communities. At the same time, sadly, this can bring up certain challenging emotions for many, for example, unhealed wounds from the past or some unresolved conflicts. I know that the issues and challenges that can arise during the holiday can as unique as we are, but some challenges that we might be facing, and I'm curious which one of those challenges you have experienced or you are going through right now. So one of these can be that in the CNM lifestyle, we may feel pressure to conform to societal norms or how to conduct the end of year celebrations. For example, bring only one partner to the celebration. It has to be a husband, for example, or our environment would expect us to dress in a certain way. Like, for example, I identify as polyamorous, gender fluid, and pansexual. So it can be for people similar to my identity that, okay, we want you to dress as a man, we want you to dress as a woman, and anything else is unacceptable. And sometimes because we might lack certain skills, we may say yes to certain invitations that we actually don't want to. And I'm curious if you want to type it in the chat, if you ever experience or going through something like that, that you actually don't want to go, it doesn't feel right now, but you're feeling some sort of pressure or obligation to attend certain gatherings. And in this lifestyle, whoever practices consensual non-monogamy in one shape or another may have the fear that we're going to face judgment and scrutiny when we go to certain gatherings. For example, in my case, and I don't know how many of you can relate to that, whenever I meet with extended family members, it's like my life is going under the microscope. I don't know why and how come, but it's like others trying to, maybe with a good intention, try to like pressure me into their own worldview. So I usually get the questions that are relevant to what we call the relationship escalator, like when am I going to get married or have kids? And I have these intrusive comments as well, like you're going to regret it if you don't live your life in a certain way. So with this, they like completely disregard my worldview and what my needs are. And that can be challenging because on occasions I really felt like unseen and unheard and unsupported. Plus, let's not forget that in a CNM lifestyle, we are navigating multiple celebrations with multiple partners, and it can be incredibly exhausting to make sure that everyone, all of our partners, receive the same amount of or similar amount of time and attention and affection and effort from us. So to make sure that no one is excluded, that no one feels supported and loved, can be an incredible challenge to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
To break that down a little bit further, I want to talk about something that can really land us into a painful place, and that is when we move into comparison, envy, or jealousy. And when I talk about comparison, it can take several forms. For example, we might scroll to social media and see the seemingly perfect pictures of people living monogamous lifestyles, and it appears that, oh my God, their life is so incredibly perfect, and we start comparing our life to their lives if we're going through some challenging period, and end up in the place of maybe regretting where we're at or feeling lonely and isolated. We might also end up in the place where we compare the attention, affection, and effort that we receive from our partners to what our metamors receive at this time of the year. And that can really land us in the place of envy and jealousy and take us away from the present moment. Or I know some people from this larger group, for example, and that can be true for many people as well, that happened the breakup this year, or you're going through a divorce, or you lost a loved one, and it's really easy to go down to that place in ourselves where we start focusing on what could have been or what could be this time of the year if that relationship still stayed the same, or if I still had that loved one in my life, versus what is right now. And these can all bring up really painful emotions. That can be a very challenging place to be. And sometimes you may not realize that many of these challenges are not persistent or personal. And actually, if we notice where we can upgrade our skill set, we can really move ourselves to a better place. What do you think about this, Kiri? Anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, thank you for getting us started. You bring up so many really important points, and I'm really glad that we made the time to do this particular topic during the holidays, because I think, just like you said, it can be very triggering time for a lot of people, including, like you said, I also had lost my father around the Thanksgiving holiday, so it can be triggering from that standpoint too. And that's, in some ways, in my case, still related to consensual non-monogamy, because I didn't really identify that way quite yet when he was alive. And so it triggers moments of, I wonder what he would have said if I told him that I was polyamorous, and I was married and I decided not to eventually adopt or have children, like how he would perceive that. And so that's something that is on my mind that can get triggered around the holidays. And we do have some people in our community who have lost some loved ones or are going through a breakup or a divorce. So that can definitely be extra challenging. And people can sometimes be dealing with depression around the holidays. There's some statistics that we think a lot of times of like heart disease or obesity or smoking as being reasons that people may have a high mortality rate. But ironically, the most surprising statistic is that loneliness is higher than all of those. Loneliness is 45% more likely to cause early death than all those other things combined. It's kind of a crazy thing to think about, and we don't actually talk about it very much. So that's why I think this is a really important topic to bring up. And the other thing that I noticed comes up in my own polyamorous lifestyle, I've identified in my case as consensually non-monogamous and or polyamorous for somewhere around, like, say, 15 years, well over a decade. And I've made efforts to tell all my family and friends that, and they know both of my partners, both my husband as well as my nesting partner. Yet it really is interesting to see some of the microaggressions that can come up. And what I mean by microaggression is it's kind of like a subtle way to kind of invalidate you or your identity or your needs or your feelings. So I would say, out of the holiday cards that we get sent, I'd say about 70% of them only have my husband and my name on the card, even though they know that my other partner lives here. And what I want to say there too is to find gratitude in that is it really kind of highlights those people who are taking the time to recognize and honor that we are coloring outside lines of monogamy and do take the time to acknowledge that. They're people that I really hold very, very dear to my heart. And I make a point to tell them that that really means a lot to me. So that's something that you may experience too, is people either not acknowledging your different sort of a lifestyle, or as B was saying, maybe you feel that there's too much worry of shame or ridicule, or possibly people disowning you if you were actually out about that. And so maybe you feel like you have to hide that. And that's also can be very, very painful. So that's just something I wanted to bring up as well, B. So thank you for this important topic. What are some of your other
Yes.
thoughts?
Yes, absolutely, Katie. I really honor your share about the struggles that you have been facing throughout the holiday season. And I believe that can resonate with so many people. The loneliness part, the exclusion, that some people might invalidate our lifestyle and show up unsupportive, and all that together, including navigating the multiple celebrations, making sure that the presents are in place, making sure that we create agreements and boundaries, what we're going to do and when we're going to do, how to allocate certain time. That can all contribute to a feeling of overwhelm, like emotional and physical drain. And sometimes we might end up forgetting about our own self-care throughout this particular time of the year, and possibly feel powerless to navigate all of the emotional triggers and logistics that might come up. We even might end up in a place where we start questioning if this lifestyle is really legitimate choice for us, and that kind of self-doubt just can stack on the difficulties that we might be facing. So yeah, loads of triggers can come up this time of the year, including around communication, which I really wanted to touch on, because yeah, so many people say that, yeah, our communication is so great, yet when, for example, it comes to the holidays and certain assumptions are made, that just because we did something last year in a certain way, we make the assumption it's going to happen the same way this year. We don't communicate boundaries clearly, we don't communicate our needs and desires clearly. That can end up in a really painful cycle with us, when we may feel misunderstood and disconnected from our partners. Another thing that this holiday season can highlight is, for example, if we've had power imbalance in our relationship. So maybe throughout the year, those cracks hasn't shown, but this time of the year, when, for example, we feel pressured to participate in something, just to say yes to something, for example, having our metamor over at our place, but we really want to say no, but we're afraid of the consequences, or we feel that we must be cheerful at this time of the year for our partner's sake, and neglect our own needs in that situation. That can really escalate certain unresolved conflicts as well, and increase resentment, plus really show the cracks. So this time of the year can show certain cracks in our relationship. For example, if there's some power imbalance, something that needs to be addressed, and can bring up all of the gifts as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that, B. All really heartfelt and important things to bring up, including that a lot of people may believe that they have good communication, but a lot of times what we find when we do work with people is when you are practicing consensual non-monogamy and you're adding more people, more complexity into the dynamic, oftentimes we need to increase our skill set, have more advanced communication skills to learn how to get to the heart of the matter very quickly, which a lot of times is learning how to speak in different ways that are more kind and compassionate, and start to talk about what your needs are, what your wants, your desires are, and doing it in a way that the other person can really receive it and hear you from the heart and show up with their own empathy. And that's something that we do help people with. And another thing I want to touch on is that a lot of times around the holidays, because it's the end of the year, I see that sometimes people might have some regrets and feel some maybe guilt around different things. And that could be another sign of needing to do some boundary work. One thing I'd love to share is this concept of thinking about regrets as an inability to feel gratitude in the present moment. And I think that's a really interesting way to think about regret, because it's very empowering to help you realize that there's things that we can control and things we cannot control. So things that happened in the past, including in January, February, all the way up to yesterday, right? Anything that happened in the past, we cannot control. So really stepping into this moment now, like what do we have to be grateful for now? And then how can we plant some seeds for the future so that 2024 is really creating more of what we want in our lives, and being able to lovingly take stock of that is also a skill set. So I wanted to bring that up as well. And I'd love to just shift gears into, how can you solve some of this? One is to know that there is absolutely ways that you can increase your skill set here in all of this, and also have a loving, supportive group around you to do that. I really do have a belief that it's important to find the right roadmap for you, the right maybe mentor or coach or therapist for you. And I really do believe that there is the right professional out there for whatever it is that you're going through, because it's one thing to just read a book, but it's another thing to have somebody holding your hand and guiding you and making sure you do not fail. I mean, imagine if you were in an environment where you knew you could not fail, you knew that you absolutely could succeed if you really showed up and gave it everything that you've got. And a lot of times that's what we need when we're living in a world where it's very sex negative. We may not know a lot of people in our lives, in our everyday lives, that are not on the relationship escalator, that are practicing some form of consensual non-monogamy. So it is possible to get the support, to learn how to set healthy boundaries for yourself, which, as B was talking about, we could be really lenient around that and not realize we're actually damaging ourselves around the holidays. You can learn how to self-soothe your emotions and learn to raise your emotional intelligence to be able to navigate those challenging emotions that can come up, particularly around the holidays. And you can learn to advocate for your needs and communicate in healthier and healthier ways. B, what would you like to add to that?
Thank you, Kitty, for this powerful share. I really appreciated that you highlighted the power of the mindset shift, like how to think differently around regret. And I encourage you all who are watching this to really embrace that there's no shame around not having certain amount of skill set to navigate certain things in an empowered way, because skills can be learned. Like we learn to ride a bike, we learn to drive a car, we learn to cook. So these all can be learned. And even if you feel that you're not fully equipped throughout this holiday season, one tip that I can give that's really helping me through every challenging situation is to get curious. Like notice my emotions, what comes up in certain challenging moments, and try to understand what might be the needs that want to express themselves, what might be the skill set that I might need. Is it some communication skills that I want to upgrade possibly in 2024, or is it some emotional regulation skill set, or I want to learn how to take another person's perspective so I can lean into more empathy. So curiosity can be something that can land us in a better place, even though we're navigating discomfort. And I really like this quote, which I'm not sure that I can quote verbatim, is once we change how we look at things, the things we look at change. So that's a really powerful thing, and that's basically sums up the kind of the work that I'm doing, because I happen to know from my journey within the Loving Without Boundaries space that once we change our perspective, how we see the world can really change, and we can have a very different experience. So I too want to leave you with a very positive message that even though some skill sets might need to acquired or build, there's absolutely a way to create a positive experiences without sacrificing our well-being, and to transition from a scarcity mindset to abundance mindset and approach the holiday season with mindful presence. Plus, I really want to say to all of you that we can feel that because we have struggles, that we experience challenges throughout the CNM lifestyle, that something's wrong with us, that we're weak, that something needs to change, that we're broken. And I want to offer you a turnaround of this, that as we keep saying, this lifestyle is not for the faint-hearted. So I want to invite you to embrace your badassery, your resilience that it takes to navigate the complexities, the challenges of this lifestyle, derive strength from your ability to stay on an authentic path that's meaningful to you, and really step into that space where you own that I'm going to create my own traditions. I'm going to live my life the way that it works for me. And if you think that some skill set is something that you could help you moving forward, then there's definitely a way to reach out for Kitty, for example, who can really help you in this particular endeavor.
Thank you for that, Bea. Very heartfelt message. I really got it in the feels. And so for anybody watching, if you are watching the recording as well, if you are needing support around this, if you do want to consider working with a mentor and a coach, and you are looking to up-level your skill set and get to that higher level in your life, in your relationships, and you're ready to put in the work, then I do invite you to check out my website over at lovingwithoutboundaries.com. There is a free masterclass you can watch there, and you also can just go ahead and book a call if you'd like for a free breakthrough session at lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. That will simply take you into my calendar. I am still taking calls this week. I will be taking a week off between Christmas and New Year's, but this week, and of course you can also book in the new year if you'd like to, you can just get on my calendar. There will be a brief form to fill out just so that I have some context for our conversation, so that I can really show up as prepared as possible to be able to serve you and to help you on that call. And we'll just figure out what's going on. What are you struggling with? Can I help you? And we'll put our heads together and come up with a roadmap and a plan to find the right path forward for you and have a conversation around that. And if not the right time or the fit isn't quite there, don't worry, I'll let you know that as well. And I will do my best to steer you in the right direction for you so that you get a lot of clarity and value from that time together. So if that's you, again, feel free to go to lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. We'll just have simply an honest conversation. That's what Bea did over 2.5 years ago. And it completely transformed and changed her life to the point that she's now part of the team here. And for both of us, it is an absolute honor and privilege to be here with you in our Living Without Boundaries community. Know that we see you, we feel you, we understand you. You are in the right place at the right time, and we are honored to be here to support you. Any last words, Bea?
I just want to express my appreciation for all of you who are in this group, for your courage, your bravery, your heart, and all of your contributions throughout the year. And I want you to know that you are amazing, and I'm sending you all my love and wishing you happy holidays.
That was beautiful. So happy holidays to all of you. Happy New Year. We will see you really soon. And yes, we are both sending you lots and lots of love today and every day. And we will see you very soon.